What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Shug Nasty here. Wanted to do a quick video here. I'm waiting for my kids to get here so we can start soccer practice. But in the meantime, I thought I would record a video, something I've been wanting to talk about for a little while now. And it's regarding the changes to the grading criteria for PSA Agement 10s, or the changes to the criteria on their website. I believe that was dropped last week. There was no big announcement or anything as far as I know. It was kind of just updated on the website or changed on the website, and it was regarding the centering of these cards. Everybody kind of knows for the longest time, if not for forever, I don't know if there was ever a time where this wasn't the case, but Agement 10 cards, you could get away with centering of up to 60/40, and that's kind of what was listed on the website. And so a lot of people knew that and knew you didn't have to have a perfectly centered card or even kind of close, because 60/40 is kind of an obvious off centering to most people. And they like I said, they just changed the verbiage on their website. They didn't make a big announcement or any kind of social media announcement letting people know this was going into effect. And somebody had posted a picture of a screenshot on I believe it was an Instagram chat, and they'd sent a message to Nat Turner, the CEO of PSA, and said, hey, notice this kind of happened on your guys' website. Is this are you guys changing your grading criteria? Is it now 55/45 which is, sorry, I left that out. They changed it from 60/40 to 55/45, which is more more strict, closer to the 50/50 measurements. And he had, I think I'll put it up right here, I don't remember the exact phrasing of what he said, but he pretty much said that no, we're not updating, we're not changing anything. This is just reflecting a more accurate it's something that should have been changed a while ago as far as like the verbiage. We didn't update the website, and it's reflecting what we have been doing. We've been grading under the 55/45 criteria, not the 60/40, which immediately sends people into, well, two ways of thinking. It could be maybe Nat is telling the truth and that is the case, and they just for some reason somehow forgot to update the criteria on the website saying 60/40 is okay. How that happens, how that slips by a company that's as big as PSA, who knows? Maybe honest, maybe it was an honest mistake, or it just, it actually was the case that is, the truth. But that makes you question, like, is that okay? Is that okay that people are submitting cards to them for whatever time frame that may have been, under the impression that 60/40 cards can, have a chance at a PSA 10, which we definitely have seen cards off-centered that have gotten PSA 10s more than 60/40. There's even examples of like super OC cards, like miscut cards that have never, should have been put in packs, that if, quality assurance, should have caught those and, tossed them. But yeah, is it right to, say that, oh, we should have been doing this, and people, under the impression that 60/40 is okay, have been submitting cards that they may have not submitted, knowing that if PSA was grading 55/45 already, may have not submitted. I myself had a submission for PSA. When I found this out, I didn't, I pulled some cards out of the submission because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get away with this now that I know that this is how they grade. And the other side of that coin, and the other thought you could have, or theory you could have on what's going on, is maybe, this is maybe more a bit tinfoil hat kind of theory, but maybe PSA, was doing 60/40, and they just didn't want to make a big old announcement saying that, like, hey, we're changing our grading system, or grading scale. And then that, if they were, publicly acknowledging that, that would mean that all the PSA 10s that were graded under the 60/40 in the previous, or previously, however many millions of, cards that have gone through the system, those aren't really, what we recognize as 10s anymore, is those 60/40 centering cards. They're not as good as the new 10s. And that kind of reminds me of like how people felt, when we were in the 6 certs back in like 2020, 2021, whenever that era was, of like the 6 certs. People would look back to like 2 certs and 4 certs and be like, oh, that's a 2 cert, that's a 4 cert. They weren't grading that strictly back then, and so the card might be not a true 9 or a true 10 or whatever the grade is on the card. And like I said, maybe that's a bit of a tinfoil hat theory, but it is a possibility. Like, maybe they just didn't want to make a big old announcement about it. They knew people would just, question it a little bit in the beginning, but write it off, forget about it, like we do with most things. We forget about the CT scanners. We talk about it for a week, 2 weeks, really, that's all everybody talks about, stuff like that in the hobby. But then we forget and we move on, we go to the next thing. Maybe PSA was counting on that, and we're like, hey, people, you know, may have like some issues with this, but if we just write it off as like, hey, we've been doing this, we just made a mistake and didn't update our website, maybe, you know, people will probably just forget about it. They'll still grade with us. We're still, you know, the biggest, you know, name in the industry. People aren't, we might maybe lose a few customers, but it's not going to be, it's a drop in the bucket. It's not going to be anything noticeable. People will continue to grade with us, and we, you know, won't have an issue. So yeah, I don't know what I think. I honestly feel like I'm more of on the tinfoil hat side of things. Like, I feel like this is probably what they're doing. Like I said, it could just be an honest, like, hey, we just didn't update our website. I don't think that's the case. I feel like they want to make the PSA 10 more comparable to the black label or the pristine CGC. I feel like those are way different in the condition of the card overall. If you compare a CGC pristine to a PSA 10, it's pretty different. Like, you're gonna notice, I believe, you know, with not maybe every card. Obviously, there are some probably perfect PSA 10s that could have got CGC pristines or BGS black labels, but with maybe half of them, you can notice a big difference in either centering or, like, you know, maybe a nick or like a scratch that they miss. But I just think that they want to make the PSA 10 more comparable to those cards, seeing how those things have risen in popularity, like the CGC pristine and the BGS black label, their premiums that they're getting on that. Obviously, they're probably not aiming for like black label prices or comparability, like 1-for-1 equal, but I just think that they realize their 10 isn't as strong as people want it to be. People are wanting, especially with modern cards, people want, with how easy it is to get a PSA 10 on a modern card, it's not a fun chase. There's so many of them out there that people want a perfect card, especially if it's modern. It hasn't been played with. They're going straight into sleeves nowadays. They're not getting put in somebody's pocket or somebody's binder with 3 rings. We got all these, everybody knows how to, take care of a card. Immediately goes into the sleeve now in a top loader or a, card saver. And there's just so many of them out there that people are wanting, the perfect condition modern card is what I kind of believe. So let me know what you guys think about this. A few other people have talked about this on YouTube and stuff, but I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you think's going on here. Will we see a big difference in like the gem rate, over time? Will the gem rate of PSA cards like drop? Will it not be as easy to get a Gem Mint 10? We'll have to see. Time will tell, and we'll see if that affects the gem rate, and it also affects the price of PSA 10s to become more valuable or not. So I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.